It is time once more for another Reggie video on a game that I've actually never seen before, but apparently he's going to spawn in 10,000 assassins to achieve world peace. How he's going to do that, I don't know, but hey, there's only one way to find out. So if you did enjoy this video, please do leave a like and leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, as well as clicking that bell notification. It helps me out a great ton. Alright, enjoy this video. My cat likes to open up my door. I need to get like a tiny little cat door and just put it on there. Hi kitty. No, not right now. I give you attention later, baby. It's okay? Alright. I give you attention later. It'll be fine. Anyway, Reggie! You're gonna watch the Reggie video. I hired 10,000 assassins to achieve world peace. Oh yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Because if you are the sole leader of the world, well then you can make it peaceful, because you're definitely qualified to do that. Anyway, let's get on with it.
This video is sponsored by War Thunder.
Woohoo!
Fellas, have you ever wanted to get trampled to death by wild animals, do battle
Maybe.
against midget pirate necromancers, accidentally travel to another dimension, go insane, and die, all within the span of 2 hours? Well, if so, you've got two options. One
Okay.
of them involves swallowing 60 milligrams of DMT.
Let's
and
not
the
do
other
that.
is playing Conquest of Elysium 5.
All right,
Because
let's
all
do
of
that.
That is exactly the average Conquest of Elysium experience. This is a game where you don't question why there's a chicken man with snakes for legs. You merely ponder whether your level 9 flesh pile could swallow and digest him. But don't worry, vorphilia is not the topic.
I thought I was about to get I'm already flashbanged. No, I don't want to know what that is. Please don't tell me what that is. I know it's Sandy Cheeks from SpongeBob, but that's definitely not what her character design actually looks like in the cartoon. Please don't tell me what that is. Okay.
Of today's video. Instead, we'll be playing as the new faction, the Guildmaster. This
All right.
seemingly innocuous man travels the world establishing a variety of guilds in each of the major cities to gain advantages. I
Great.
install a Mage's Guild in my enemy's capital and cast a spell to steal his eyeballs. Then, using a Banker's Guild, I repossess his house and pay several assassins to stab all of his close friends.
Oh, that's
this
great.
Is very fun and absolutely broken. Don't believe me?
That's amazing.
Just look at the data. This graph depicts the economic power of a dozen factions. The Guildmaster is the red line, but you can't see that because it's all the way up here. If this class was any less balanced, the spiffing Brit himself would enter a vegetative state as he achieved the world's largest erection. But that's enough talking. Let's start the game.
Yeah, this definitely does seem like a perfectly balanced and totally fair exploit that would summon the Spiffing Brit.
And see for ourselves. I set up a match against 10 AI with a 200% buff to their income, and after selecting a compelling name for our commander, we load into the world. Starting off on a mostly uninhabited island is very fortunate for us, but if we want to start abusing the guild system, we're going to need to accumulate some resources. So I waste no time and begin killing the locals. These gray people are called the Independents, and I know some of them look like humans, but trust me, they're a lot closer to ants or maybe a sentient fungus. As such, they have no rights and we will be exterminating them. After a few turns, we managed to take a couple of cities and even a silver mine to bolster our economy. Right on time, we also receive a notification that one of our enemies has been ripped apart by otherworldly horrors. Don't worry, this is not uncommon. In fact, it's actually pretty good, because the Scourge Lord is a high-level griefer. His faction mechanic revolves around
I know the last Reggie video we talked about, he mentioned a lot of this guy's base. He likes VTubers. Yeah.
erecting obelisks all over the map and turning the entire world into a giant desert. I look at a thriving metropolis and think, wow, I'd love to own that. The Scourge Lord looks at the same metropolis and thinks, what if it was a pile of sand instead? Point is, no one likes him. Rest in piss, bozo. Now that we've got a basic stream of income, I take our commander back to the island and start establishing a few guilds. For now, we're just going to stack thieves guilds because they give us a bit of money and also produce roaming gangs of brigands that can capture territory for us, but we can't control them, which means they can also wander into a random monster and die painfully. In fact, a brigand's internal struggle between being useful and dying to a swarm of bees is the ultimate exercise in personal autonomy. Additionally, we start up a couple of traders guilds, each one.
How powerful are the bees? How weak are they to die to bees? They must be not that great if they die to bees.
Of these increases our gold income by 10%. My inner capitalist is breathing deeply and groaning at the thought of stacking 50 traders guilds. But first, we need more cities. After claiming the rest of the settlements on our island, I wait for winter to come around, at which point we cross an ice bridge into the northeast. Here, we find the Scourge Lord's abandoned citadel along with a shitload of iron mines. Iron is a major military resource, so this is huge. We just have to kill all the slave laborers and claim the mines for ourselves. Except this one. It's guarded by a giant slime that has acid for blood. So when a soldier runs up and stabs it, he and the 12 people closest to him are promptly dissolved in a pool of caustic chemicals. So we're leaving that one alone. But before we go any further, I have to tell you about the sponsor of today's video. 4 months ago, I was the victim of a highly unusual home invasion. The criminal infiltrated my house through the septic tank and ambushed me in my sleep. He grabbed me by the shoulders and with a cold, dead look in his eyes, he said, "Listen, guy, if you don't tell me about the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, I'm gonna blow my goddamn head off." To which I replied, "That's easy. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, with over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships from 10 major nations." "But what about the realism?" he screamed in my face. "You sweet summer child."
That's so gross, man. Don't fucking spit in my face. It's your boy Drew. Also look good. Which game is it? I forgot the name. But he hired 10,000 assassins to achieve world peace. That's definitely what he did.
The graphics and sound effects are so realistic that I've completely lost my grasp on reality. He put the gun down, and I continued. The best part is there's over 95 million players to share this experience with, and it's available on PC, console, and mobile devices.
These 95 million people also like to leak classified government documents. That's happened more than once. All right, I'm just going to leave it at that.
The power of War Thunder made this man reconsider his life choices. And when I told him that each vehicle is meticulously modeled down to its individual components with in-depth damage x-rays available on every kill, he broke down crying. "I was a fool to spend my life crawling through septic tanks when I could have been playing the greatest game of all time.
On the Shrek
Please
monitor."
forgive me." To which I replied, "I will. But only if you click the link in the description to try War Thunder for free. New and returning PC and console players can receive a massive bonus pack featuring multiple premium vehicles, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days premium access for a limited time only." That man did it, and now he's a doctor. Thank you, War Thunder. Now back to the video. By this point, we've got 2 main branches of territory, our starting island and the mines in the north. Now we just need to connect them. But there's one thing standing in our way, the Voice of El. This is a faction of religious extremists led by the archbishop, whose life goal is, and I'm not exaggerating, to start the apocalypse and kill everyone, including himself. Basically,
all right. I don't know what to say to that, but I think this guy needs to go. He doesn't seem, how you say, mentally sound and stable for this world. Man knows what he wants, he does. But I don't think it's healthy for the planet.
Not a very chill guy.
Yeah,
so we're not going to bother with diplomacy. Instead, we'll utilize the power of our guilds to take him out. So far, the Thieves Guild hasn't been doing a lot for us. In fact, I've personally witnessed 7 generations of brigands all die to the same elephant. But we can fix that. I take our commander back to the island and start upgrading each Thieves Guild into an Assassin's Guild. Ooh. This increases the number of brigands produced and also gives us the option to sign assassination contracts against specific factions. So I grab a contract, do a little color matching to make sure I'm targeting the right guy, and then I sign it. This spawns an assassin at each of the guilds. These units specialize in killing enemy commanders, and if a player has no remaining commanders, their entire faction gets wiped out. So now you probably see the vision. Establish hundreds of assassins guilds all over the world and massage our enemies into extinction. That all sounds fine and good, but right now we've only got 3 assassins, and the first one drowned in shallow water, the second accidentally got teleported into a magical forest 700 kilometers away, and I just generally don't have a lot of confidence in the third one. So
okay, yeah, honestly, that doesn't... Brigands ain't shit. I see trash mobs at best. Oh my goodness. How are you gonna die in drowning water? What do? Accidentally accidentally like get yourself tied up and then you fall face first into the river that's probably not even a foot deep. I'm starting to see why he needed 10,000 of these guys. Because apparently 3 is not enough.
So for the time being, we might need a more conventional approach. I use our new income of iron to recruit a bunch of crossbowmen, and we start heading toward the archbishop. We close in on his capital city, but it's too well defended, so instead I capture a nearby city and start using it to recruit siege weapons. In response, the archbishop performs a ritual to break the first heavenly seal. This summons one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, Pestilence. That's a crazy response to getting a new neighbor, but we'll roll with it. Luckily, the horseman is like 2.
You know, usually when you get a new neighbor, you'd bring him like a pie or something. You know, hi neighbor, how's it going? Here's some food. Not bring about the apocalypse. Anyway,
200 kilometers away. However, he is heading straight for us, so it's time to hurry this up. Quickly attacking his capital, we use our ballistae to weaken the defenders, and then spend the rest of the fight praying our commander doesn't get shot in the face. Fortunately, our face remains unpenetrated, and we win the battle. This secures us a lot of income and a forward stronghold for our empire. The clergy makes a few attempts to take it back, attacking us with some crusaders and even a flaming sword, but eventually
a flaming sword.
Take it back, attacking us with some crusaders and even a flaming sword. But eventually our assassins find the archbishop hiding out in a forest and kill him, which puts an end to his faction once and for all. I was hoping that would stop the horseman, but like an obsessed fan, he's still there and still coming to murder us. On that note, quick shout out to Murgos the Guild Assassin, who actually tried to kill the Horseman of Pestilence with a 1 to 3 damage poison dagger. Didn't work, and he contracted every known disease just by trying. Compounding this issue is the fact that we've just run into our next enemy to the south, the Bakamono. This is a goblin faction that's deeply steeped in Japanese mythology and aesthetic. It is also one of the strongest.
Good God, man. Reggie loves to flashbang you with things, doesn't he? He doesn't even give a warning. He's just like, here, you get to see it. I saw it, so you do too.
Factions in the game. For example, let's look at the score graph for military power. This red line is us, and the purple is the Bakamono. In this moment, I understand what it feels like to be a terrorist on monkey bars going up against the American military-industrial complex. And while that is very humbling, we can at least take solace in the fact that our economy is looking pretty good. But we need to survive long enough for any of that to matter. Presently, our brigand gangs have started clashing with the Bakamono scouts, and it's not going well. In fact, they're pushing us.
He got the hammer of dawn summoned on him. Oh, good God.
With an army of 170 soldiers led by some kind of snake wizard. The Bakamono are difficult because they can summon a wide variety of monsters, ranging from giant demonic samurai to balding turtle men. Personally, my favorite are the Oni, because much like the obese, they have a canonical weakness to vegetables. Now,
even worse than Frieza with tits shown in a split second during solar flare. Oh my goodness, yeah.
Regardless of my appreciation for Bakamono culture,
Listen, at the very least with solar flare, you know something scarring is coming. He doesn't give you a warning. He's just going to give it to you.
Army is an issue. However, in what can only be described as an orgasm-inducing stroke of luck, the Horsemen of Pestilence rode straight into them. I'm thinking, he'll kill all the Bakamono, and I can go back to making more guilds. However, not only did they survive, they actually killed a rider of the apocalypse. This was a harrowing revelation. On the upside, the Horsemen did manage to inflict a disease upon the entire army. This status slowly decomposes affected units each turn until they die. Basically, everyone in this army is in the irreversible process of turning into fertilizer, and I think that is pretty cool.
That's
just
pretty
to make
amazing.
Sure they don't get any ideas about attacking us before that happens, I assassinate their general, which leaves around 120 units stranded without a commander. I call this a dead army. Not because it's dead, but because without a commander, it can't move. That's normally a moderate inconvenience, because you can just send a replacement commander to go get them. However, in the world we are are striving to build, we will produce so many assassins that every turn we're killing the commander, the replacement commander, and the replacement commander's replacement, thereby completely paralyzing our enemy's military.
That's actually so good.
I know this probably comes across as the ravings of a meth-addled lunatic, but it's possible. We just need more guilds. With the
assassins with the crackheaded determination to kill the enemy general. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Main Bakamono army turning into mulch, I invest in furthering our guild infrastructure. This results in us running into an orange faction led by the Enchanter. This is without a doubt the worst faction, because their commander is an agoraphobic maniac that never leaves his castle. Instead, he spends all day
as cold. Yeah, that's accurate.
Using high-level incel magic to create an army out of inanimate objects. This used to be a tree. That was an iron mine. Now, they're his only friends. Normally, I'd make fun of someone for being a paranoid schizophrenic, but for once, he's actually right, because we've been spamming guild contracts, and the entire countryside is swarming with invisible assassins. Luckily for the Enchanter, he's too pathetic to assassinate, so I return my attention to the Bakamono. I've sent a
damn, our assassins have been taking out so many strong opponents at this point, and you have to be that bad to not even be worth an assassination contract. Oh man, they probably just do it for free. I'm not gonna lie, they probably wouldn't even do it for money. It's like, dude, he's too pathetic. I'll just do it for free. I'll be right back. Hold on, it's just a couple hours. Hold on.
A few medium-sized armies into his territory to test his defenses, and he kicked the ever-living shit out of all of them. You see, we're at a major disadvantage, because he has real magic, whereas we just have vague ideas about capitalism.
I have concepts of a plan.
Point is, if we want to win this war, we're going to need a plan. So, here it is. Step 1. We infiltrate Bakamono territory with a guild master, and start establishing thieves guilds behind enemy lines. This will severely damage their economy, and the brigands produced will destabilize their borders. Basically, we're doing sleeper cells. Step 2, we invest hundreds of gold into a massive assassination campaign to degrade Bakamono leadership and kill off their high-level casters. Trust me, it's a lot easier to deal with 300 shitty goblins than 30 magical demons. Step 3, we capture a forward operating base and begin recruiting dozens of catapults. Then we establish an alchemist's guild, which allows us to modify the catapult to fire giant casks of napalm. Step 4, we take our new siege
I love it when I get to use my magic to make military-grade weapons. That's amazing.
Army south and start mercilessly cooking every Bakamono settlement we can find. The trick here is that we can only use siege weapons against fortified settlements. So step 5 is to lure the Bakamono into taking castles from us. Then we show up next turn with the siege army and go Scorched Earth. Oh wow, Bakamono, you captured my
oh my god. Excuse me.
My guard tower. How will I ever recover? Now stand still while I burn off all of your skin. Guildmasters everywhere are horrible.
Brilliant strategy. That's what I was going to originally say. The next QC popped up. It made me laugh.
Incinerating their political enemies with this one simple trick. After 10 turns of that, we've carved our way down to the Bakamono capital. It's guarded by 200 people that I don't care about, which made this next part really easy, because I closed my eyes and fired 225 flaming barrels over the walls, which killed about half of the population before the fight even began. After that, we stabbed the survivors and declared a major victory for guild supremacy. Not long after this moment, the final Bakamono commander was shanked to death by 4 assassins in an obscure harbor village, at which point his faction went extinct. Yet again, the free market prevails. While all of that was happening, I was also waging a war against the Cobalt King in the southwest. I'll keep his backstory simple. Magical lizard that uses mine shafts to hatch more lizards, easily killed by squashing beneath one's foot, until Big Lizard. In addition to the threat of late-game dragons, the kobolds have been sailing armies across the channel and ransacking our home base for the past 20 turns. And as much as I hate him for it, it's a damn good idea. So let's try it ourselves. I hired a Pegasus rider to fly over the water and scout for some good targets. However, I forgot that flying units need to rest every few turns, and our Pegasus got exhausted, fell out of the sky, and promptly drowned in the ocean. Attempt 2 went a little better by revealing some
a slight miscalculation on his end, and that's a Big lizard. Okay, I think we would run.
Several hatcheries guarded by a few dragons. It's time to start building an invasion force. Back on our island, I recruit a few hundred soldiers and some siege equipment. Then we build a shipwrights guild to give us access to large-scale naval transport. Following this,
there we
I group
go.
everyone up, throw them on the boats, and
tired.
set sail for the Cobalt port of Blackwater. Mid-transit, we got intercepted by the, at the time still alive, Bakamono Navy, which initiated naval combat. That's right, the year is 2025. And Warhammer Total War 3 doesn't have naval battles, but Conquest of Elysium 5 does. In fact, naval combat is a lot of fun, because it has very different strategies. It is totally viable to use a pyromancer to burn a hole in your enemy's ship, at which point the entire thing will sink, killing everyone on board. Or if you're more sadistic, you can just cast mass confusion on the enemy crew, which causes them to beat the shit out of each other before accidentally falling overboard and drowning. Now you tell me which.
Wait, that's actually like really. That's not a bad idea at all. You got that spell in Skyrim to make the enemies fight each other. You can't just add ship battles to a game. It requires a massive overhaul of the combat systems and code base.
One's the AAA game.
Boat. Wait, no, hold on. Boat.
Anyway, the battle went fairly well. The enemy had several amphibious kappas, but we brought enough ranged units to kill them on approach. The bigger issue was our commander had a cursed item that forced him to behave like a suicidal maniac. So he jumped off the boat and started swimming straight at the enemy warship, at which point he got smoked in the face with a fireball and died. This is why we bring backup commanders. Continuing onward, we land at Blackwater, and the garrison of 13 albino geckos is powerless to stop us. Now we've got a base of operations to recruit more units within Cobalt country. Predictably, the Cobalt sent an army of 300 to push us back, but they didn't bring a backup commander. And after plunging a dagger through their general's frontal lobe, their entire defensive army is stranded way over here. Off to a great start. From here, I begin cleaning out all of the Cobalt hatcheries and preparing for the final siege against their capital, which is defended by about 400 units. However, that turns out to be completely unnecessary, because next turn, 3 of my assassins roll up, snipe his final commander who's not even on the screen, and just like that, the Cobalt faction is relegated to non-existence. I cannot believe.
I mean, you know, when you got like 10,000 assassins everywhere. See creative assembly, it's that easy. Yeah, but I mean, hey, when you got 10,000, you got 10,000 assassins all over the world. I mean, who needs an army anyway? Just kill all the leaders, and then, you know, you can pick up the stragglers and the chaos.
Believe this is working. Taking out the Cobalts and Bakamono was a huge milestone. Believe this is working. Taking out the Cobalts and Bakamono was a huge milestone, but according to this graph, there's a foreign superpower rising in the west. So we've.
Oh my god!
According to this graph, there's a.
Look at that. You can't see because my model. Look at the fucking tank and military power. Remember, the red line is Reggie, and then this was previously the Bakamono. Oh, good God.
Superpower rising in the west, so we've still got some work left to do. However, for the time being, I decide to double back and focus on infrastructure.
Bro, what with the Assassin's Creed strat?
Map now under our control, I put assassins guilds everywhere. Major cities, market villages, even goddamn sky castles. You can't go anywhere without getting stabbed. Boris Johnson would be proud. This sounds great, but the major drawback is how long it makes our turns. Because every time I sign an assassination contract, I have to watch patiently for 5 to 7 minutes as my 75 assassins bumble around the map and drown constantly. If you don't mind not knowing what the fuck is going on, you can fix this by setting the turn timer to 50 milliseconds. Oh yeah, this is so much better. Other than that, I also upgraded all of our assassins guilds into Shadow Stalker guilds. This doubles the amount of brigands they produce. So when you look at this swarm of armies patrolling the map, just remember that only 5 of them are manually controlled. The rest is an extension of our will, like some kind of autonomous assassination appendage. Additionally, I went to the Alchemy Guild and recruited about a dozen alchemists. Then I hyperinflated the global currency by spamming Greater Alchemical Conversion 500 times. This converts 1 iron to 7 gold, and with 12 alchemists, that's an extra 84 gold per cast, which we then use to buy 84 iron, and the cycle continues. Also, I've
Wait, never mind. I see the strategy. You turn it into more gold. You turn the iron into more gold than what you bought it for. Okay, no, yeah, that's broken. This could definitely summon the smithing brick.
Been trying really hard to ignore the enchanter because I feel a certain respect toward his antisocial tendencies. However, on one occasion, he actually worked up the courage to leave his house. And I'm not proud to say this, but I accidentally trampled him to death with a bunch of horses. Worse yet, since he didn't have any friends, his entire faction immediately died.
He didn't have any backup commanders. He was the only one. Oh, no. That's sad. He had no friends. Oh, boy. Me, I need friends.
My guilt is immeasurable. To cheer myself up, I decided to build a Void Pilots Guild. This allows us to recruit special boats that can sail into different dimensions. It is not enough that we conquer mankind. Other realities must also accept guild membership. First things first, we take the fancy boat, sail it off the edge of the world, and end up in the void. A trip to the void is a lot like ingesting 3,000 milligrams of gamma hydroxybutyrate, because
the enchanter got you sick hard. Yeah, and then we are in the other world. Hopefully the enchanter's in here too, and then we'll just be able to do a little stab, you know?
At the end of every turn, you're going to wake up in a different place with no memory of how you got there. If you stay too long, you will go insane, and if you're not careful, the Fent monsters will find and kill you. Basically, it sucks, but there are some resources to gather, so let's see what we can find. After a bit of wandering around, I stumbled upon a portal that took us to the elemental plane, where I then found a scroll, and upon reading it, we were immediately teleported to hell. Truly, literacy is the most heinous crime of all.
And that is why I can't read. It's very, very hard for me to read. I'm dyslexic.
The fun thing about Hell is that it contains the spirits of every mortal unit that died in Elysium.
Oh, okay, yeah, never mind. Yeah, so that guy did get isekai'd. He just went to hell, and then we can stab him again. Good. All right.
So hypothetically, we could find the archbishop and kill him all over again. I was pretty excited about starting a new chapter of our guild here, but before I had a chance to do that, I suffered several psychotic episodes and got killed by demons. 10 out of 10 experience. Exactly what I wanted from my eternal damnation. Back in the real world, I thought it might be fun to build an adventurers guild. These operate similarly to thieves guilds in that they produce autonomous armies, except instead of an army of illiterate men that smell like cigarettes dipped in piss, this guild generates randomized
how do you know what cigarettes dipped in piss smell like, Reggie? I feel like Reggie is a scarred man. I don't know why I feel like this, but I definitely felt like he's a scarred man.
D&D parties. Wizards, warriors, rogues, stuff like that. All in all, it's very cute, and I thought it might be interesting to follow the first party and see what noble adventures unfold.
Please tell me they die immediately.
This group was led by Verabeth the Warrior Saint, and it had several thieves, a necromancer, a dwarf, and a barbarian. For their first heroic quest, they traveled westward, eventually finding and slaughtering an innocent family of mountain goats. Kind of fucked up, but let's see where this goes. After that, they tried to banish some evil spirits from an abandoned castle, but the difficulty spike from goats to demonic banshees was a bit too much, man. There were only 4 survivors, and they didn't even last long, because the turn after, a pink faction showed up and butchered all of them. This is a dark day indeed. Well, maybe that was just bad luck.
And that's a butt. We're just gonna all right, there we go. He's gone. Whoopee, yay.
Let's pick a different party and follow them. These guys went south into the desert before running into another pink army, at which point an enemy druid transformed all of our heroes into trees. I cannot cope with this level of humiliation, so I disbanded the Adventurers Guild and got back to...
Dude, how you gonna let yourself get turned into trees, man? The power of the Lorax really came back at you, huh? I really hope the power of the Lorax doesn't come back after me. I kill a lot of trees in Factorio, and I enjoyed killing the trees.
But who is this mysterious pink faction that has been committing war crimes against the good members of our guild? Turns out it's the Senator. This faction is a Roman Republic focused around gold generation and massive armies of legionaries. They're actually pretty similar to us in playstyle, so fighting them should be a good test. One notable difference is that this version of the Roman Empire appears to have figured out how to domesticate mythological creatures, such
excuse me, but I don't want to photosynthesize. Gets turned into a tree. No, yeah, that's that is a very shameful fate, you know, as a guy who really enjoys his factory building games. A super shameful fate.
Such as giant crabs and even werewolves. I find this to be a thought-provoking historical revision. Could Joe Swanson Family Guy have stabbed Julius Caesar 23 times if he was protected by an honor guard of crustaceans and horny furries? Historians may never know, but we're going to find out if our assassins can, because you better believe I'm signing 75 contracts against the senator every turn. With the contract killer...
No, listen, you turned my people into trees. One, I want to disband those people because they dare get turned into trees. Two, I'm going to kill you because you like to spread nature, and I don't like that.
Occupying about 50% of the squares on the map, it has never been more dangerous to be alive. We're killing everyone. Political enemies, random animals, doesn't matter. If you've got a pulse, we've got a problem. Speaking of problems, the senator is pushing us from the west with several...
Warhammer Imperium, you got a pulse, we got a problem.
Armies. Naturally, we kill the commanders, but then he rolls up with a new army, combines it with the old ones, and keeps pushing. We kill the new commanders too, but he's replacing them really fast. And this results in him snowballing dozens of armies into one mega death stack of nearly 1,000 pissed off Romans.
That's
which
too much.
I don't even think we can fight at this point.
That's way too much.
I have some ideas though. Currently, we have a few mages, but their most powerful spell is Animate Shrubbery, which in the face of the entire Roman Empire isn't going to cut it. So I started investing in several mages guilds to attract higher quality wizards. We just need to wait for them to arrive. Unfortunately, time is at a bit of a premium, because the big pink dick of the Senate has finally pushed past our assassins, and it's attacking us at this tower.
Our giga high powerful assassins are not good enough. They got too many bodies for our knives. That's not good.
600 enemies, I'm not expecting much from this garrison, but they actually operate at 900 IQ for this entire fight, because the archers mow down the advancing Romans while the sorceress casts mass confusion spells to delay them. Eventually, they break down the tower gate, but we spam summon skeletons to block the doorway and maximize the uptime on our crossbows.
Oh, that's so good.
We lost, but this was a huge proof of concept for magic as the answer to the Roman question. Over time, I was able to recruit a few...
Not gonna lie, that was a pretty good strategy.
Level 2 and 3 wizards, which can easily wipe out entire armies depending on their spells. This was nice, but we can go even further. You see, right now the senator is engaging us in 5 to 10 mid-sized skirmishes every turn. We're fighting them on land, at sea, and if they decide to invade the cosmic plains of nothingness, I'm ready to fight them there too. Honestly, we're pretty evenly matched, but the issue is, we're being too
the fact that you can go to hell, the void, the plane of elementals and stuff like that. I forgot what it was actually called. This was crazy. I wasn't actually expecting this. I thought it was going to be like what's it called? Fantasy simulator. Okay, I wasn't expecting all this. It was actually not bad.
Offensive. However, I have a plan to fix that using teleportation. Thanks to our maxed out mages guilds, we can now create arcane portals in our major cities to allow for fast travel. So we put one portal down in the desert, surrounded by 5 different recruitment centers. Then we managed to get another portal at this stronghold deep in Roman territory. Now we can recruit 50 units a turn and teleport them straight into the heart of the Roman Empire. I'm not convinced we can kill the senator with this alone, but I am convinced I can make his life a living nightmare by using this to establish a dozen thieves guilds in all of his cities. I began enacting the plan, and before long, the entirety of Rome was swarming with lawless criminals. Genuinely, there was nowhere for the senator to hide, and before long, we managed to assassinate him and his body double. Truly
beautiful.
A masterstroke in political violence. All of this destabilized the Roman Empire enough for us to easily take their capital, and I was forming up one final army to siege their last major city when I received a notification. The senator has been eliminated by the Cloud Lord. Turns out, while he was fighting us, the senator was also waging war against the sky. More specifically, a race of winged cloud people. And whether or not they realize it, by killing the senator, they just made us the most powerful faction in the game by a wide margin. You see, the senator was the only faction that was capable of matching our sheer volume.
You fools, you killed the only people that actually rivaled us, and now there's nobody to stop me from my world domination, world peace campaign. Definitely not world domination, world peace, not domination, okay? Trust me. It says so in the title.
of brigand hordes, and much like a game warden mowing down feral hogs from a helicopter, he was keeping our population in check. But now without him, we're going to run absolutely wild on Elysium. Every turn, I add 5 more thieves guilds to the map, and every turn, the swarm of brigand thieves intensifies, swallowing up everything in its path. After 20 turns, we have captured so much territory that our economy has become the economy. And compared to the remaining factions, we are like the omniscient amalgamation of every billionaire in the world, while everyone else is some kind of illiterate dirt salesman. On that note, there are only 3 resistance factions remaining, and I won't pretend that killing them was difficult, but it was kind of fun. Here's how it went. Difficult. First target, the Markgraf. Basically, it's a society of gnomes that dabble in the occult. I dabble in building a gigantic army and staging naval landings at their major cities. This faction likes to turtle up, so I made an engineers guild and had the boys modify our ballistae to fire electric bolts. This has maximized our gnome killing efficiency. As we close in on the final gnomish settlement, the Markgraf gets desperate and begins performing necromantic rituals to summon an army of the dead. But he's about 90 turns too late for that to matter, and we waste no—
My bodies are far outmatched your bodies, even if you summon the dead.
No time wiping him out at but he's about 90 turns too late for that to matter, and we waste no time wiping him out at Chibero. Next up is the Baron. Traditionally a very powerful and versatile medieval faction, they've since been relegated to hiding out in their castles to survive the vermintide of brigands that have been unleashed upon the world. However, the Baron also struck up some alliance with the Cloud people, and he started using Cloudfolk commanders and soldiers. This is a problem, because they're completely immune to poison, which makes them almost impossible to assassinate. On top of that, ever since I started making assassins guilds, the Baron himself has been in hiding, and I haven't seen him for about 100 turns. Until randomly, one of my scouts found him hiding out in the mountains. Upon being spotted, the Baron fled into a nearby city, but we followed him. And while his armor can deflect crossbow bolts, it cannot deflect a full blast ballista to the face. This is the fantasy equivalent of executing your political enemies with an anti-aircraft gun. After that, we just had to manually clean up a few Cloud Soldier armies and then capture his final castle. Final target, the Cloud Lord. This guy was the hardest of the 3 because he has decent magic, good mobility, and I don't know what any of his spells do.
Not to mention he's completely resistant to poison, so our assassins are going to have a bit of a hard time with this one.
Example, this castle is protected with a rainbow wall. I have no idea what that means, so I sacrificed 120 men to find out. Contrary to popular belief, the rainbow wall doesn't turn your soldiers bisexual.
Wait, stop showing me this, Reggie. I was going to say it was the rainbow wall to just burn you to ash, but oh my god.
And we just killed all of the Cloud people over the next 20 turns. Slow, it just kills them. And we just killed
burning to ash. We'll just say burns to ash.
All of the Cloud people over the next 20 turns. Slowly and painfully.
You fight actual sentient clouds. Okay. Death Corpse of Kree tactics. You'll figure it out. It's weak. You'll figure out its weakness eventually. Yeah, just keep throwing bodies at it. It'll be fine. They have to run out of bullets eventually. All right, we just got to have more bodies than they have bullets.
Wearing all of their armies down and picking off their castles. Random side note here, but while I was traveling through the sky, I came across a sub-faction of potential neo-Nazis. A group of Aryan whites living in the heavens. What did the Swedish developers mean by this? We may never know, but I do know that after 15 turns of assassinations, the Cloud Lord has only one commander left, and he's currently being pelted to death with rocks by this group of unwashed sodomites. How dignified. With his death, the final enemy faction is destroyed, and we have achieved total guild supremacy. Now we can take a look at the score graphs and observe the absolutely ridiculous growth of our military power over time, and also check out the economy. By the time we killed the senator, our economy was approximately 36 times larger than his, and at least 100 times larger than everyone else's. It feels good to play such a perfectly balanced class with no exploits whatsoever. Well, that's going to be
all right. You stole that line from the Spiffing Brit, but okay.
it for this this video. We've utilized thousands of thieves and murderers to slowly and then all at once take control of the world. I want to give a warm thanks to the many members of the Assassin's Guild, generously stabbing and murdering my political enemies. And finally, thank you for watching. And before you go, don't forget to turn your life around.
Thank you for providing genuine content to Mr. Reggie, alright? Go support the Reggie. This video is honestly very entertaining. I was very curious to see how he would achieve world peace with 10,000 assassins. But it seems that he was able to do it with such a stupidly high economy. Everybody else was just piss poor dirt. You know, I should have known it was world domination. Probably should have seen that one coming. It's Reggie after all. You know, looking back at this footage, he had a lot of interesting clips that he showed that wasn't about the game. Yeah, I don't. Man, it's wonder what his hard drive looks like. But once more, if you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye bye.